going for a ride in the 6.7 Cummins. I was driving this truck first or second time down the highway, and I hit a bunch of patchwork on the highway. And like we got bad roads up here, friends. It's just how it is with the climate. I hit a bunch of uneven bumps, mostly with the left tire. And what did I get? You Dodge guys know. I got a major death wobble. The steering wheel was getting pulled out of my hands. It was so bad, I had to pull over on the shoulder to zero speed before it went away. And I was like, ooh. To the point, friends, I drove home and grabbed a different truck. I didn't want to drive this thing. Well, the next day, I said to myself, you got to get over this. See, that was a good bump there. You got to get over this. Let's figure this out. So I went under the front end and I noticed something. One of my sway bar links came loose. So I noticed one of the bushings was tight, but the sleeve that went in there was loose. The nut was backed off, which is funny because I checked all that stuff and tightened that nut. So anyways, friends, I got new hardware for it out of my hardware pile, and I made a new spacer and I put it all together and I reefed it down and it's tight now. And I literally went to the same spot on the highway and I hit the same bump at the same speed and no death wobble. So I've experienced death wobble a couple of times. It's not as bad as the first time, but I may even get it on this road, friends. These trucks are super well known for it. Everything on this front end is tight, okay? Upper lower ball joints, my steering link, my steering box, my tie rod ends, I've checked them all. They're all super tight. So the question is, how can this front end have issues when none of them show up when you're testing them? Well, I think my track bar is loose, okay? And again, you can put a bar on it, try and move things over. This thing's telling me I need a new CC heat valve crankcase vent. It's probably original on this truck, but so anyways, when I went to look at the track bar, I put the tires on the ground and I steered left, right, left, right, left, right. And what I saw was a little tiny wee. I saw some movement in the track bar. Okay? Check this out. I still have the video. I took a video of it. Okay, you see that little bit of movement? For me, that's too much. There's no way to really check that when the truck's on a rack either. Like, it's one of those things. It seems tight enough, but I have a feeling when I pull it off, I'm going to see it moves farther. Okay? That top side especially. When I pull the bottom side off, I bet you I'll be able to move that top side. What that does is it keeps your frame centered over your diff. If that starts getting loose, your diff can do this and your truck goes back and forth. Now think about it, friends. If the body moves over, your steering starts to do this. That's what a death wobble is. Can be. There's other ways to create it, but I think that's what's going on my truck. And my steering box is still really tight. So anyways, friends, today's video, we're gonna crawl underneath this thing. I wanted to order a Thurin or a Synergy. There's all these companies that have invested a lot of time and a lot of money into this truck, okay? This chassis, and designed upgraded front ends, because these things have a lot of front end geometry issues. This truck has the 08 and up steering upgrade. It's got the T-link instead of the Y-link. You got to Google that if you have one of these. It's got all that. It's got a steering damper. I'm gonna replace the steering damper on this truck. Again, I think the steering damper is maybe a little worn on this thing. So what I did, friends, I ordered 2 new sway bar links. They're tight, but I'm going to replace them anyways. 2 sway bar links, a new track bar, which is in the back seat. I ordered a Moog, friends. I'm at the point with this truck, I don't want to keep dumping money into it. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to dump money into it, but I want to drive it a bit before I decide where I'm going with this truck. If I really like this truck, and I do so far, then I'll put, a Thurin or a Synergy. I'll put the good stuff in, and I should never have to deal with it again. But for right now, I'm going to put the Moog. That sounds good, eh? I'm also looking for shocks for this truck. My shocks don't seem to be leaking. They're fine, but I don't trust them. And again, I'm going to be doing long trips with this truck next year. That's the plan. My first trip with this truck next year will be bucket stock. So I totally lost my train of thought there, friends. My idea is if I really like this truck, and again, I'm going to be going to bucket stock among other places next year. I would really like to go through everything on this truck and know what I got. I'm going to drive home and let's put a track bar on this, a Moog track bar, and then take it for another ride and see if I can feel any difference. Okay, I'm underneath the truck. This is the part in question, the track bar. Okay, it goes from there to there. And all that does is hold the frame straight over the front end, okay? Now, there's no movement in the track bar, but I could make happen. But like I said, when I turn, I can see there's some movement at that joint, and that should be enough to make this thing shim sham and flim flam. Okay, notice this truck is lifted. It has a drop on it, okay, a drop bracket. The other way around this is to get an adjustable track bar. I thought of going that route, but like I said, I don't want to just throw money at this thing for no reason. We'll see if the Moog is good. I've read decent reviews online. It's cheap and cheerful, and if it gets my truck running down the road a little straighter, I'll be a happy guy. Later on down the road, I can change all this stuff. Again, steering box is tight. Tire rod ends are tight. I've greased them. This steering damper, I ordered a new one. I'm waiting for that. I ordered a Bilstein. We're going to get rid of this. The bushings on it are pretty spongy. It's not leaking or anything, but I think we can do much better. So I'm waiting for that. And then the brace goes from here to here and around this nut right here. Okay, so I ordered a steering brace. We'll do a video on that, and we'll keep going until this thing's perfect. I got no movement in my ball joints that I can detect. So likely when I pull this apart, oh, and I got new sway bar links. This is the side that I fixed. That's a new bolt from my bolt stash, and again, it's all nice and tight now, and it actually made it handle way better. This was loose in here, and when I hit a bump, this thing would go all over the place. So anyhow, I'm going to take both these nuts off. They look like they're about 21 mil, somewhere around there. And we'll pull this off, and we'll compare it on the tailgate. Okay, that was pretty nonchalant, pretty easy. Here's the old track bar, here's the new one. Again, this is an OEM replacement from Moog. It is exactly the same as the one that was on there, and it is exactly the same specs. Now, I had to, hopefully you guys don't get too much wind here, but again, we're working with what we're working with. I had to drop my steering linkage out of the way to get to this side. This is the passenger side. I literally just undid the nut, gave it a good hit with a persuader, and it came off, and it made everything 10 times better. Now, this track bar is not, it's not falling off. Another thing, I looked at the mounts through the frame. Check if they're oblong. If they're worn out, which seems to be common on these, I've been hearing about that or reading about it online. You're gonna have to get out your welder and weld a heavy washer to there or something to keep it from moving, because you could have the tightest track bar and still have death wobble. Okay, let's check all these ends and just inspect them. Okay, the first thing I notice is this bushing is cracked. It's cracked in here. When you guys right in, it's starting to delaminate. This bushing is missing a lot of this outer area, and it's starting to crack in here. And again, I shouldn't be able to move this, and I can't. Okay, so this side seems to be tight. So I never noticed any movement on this side when I was originally inspecting the front end. And of course, this bolt came off super easy. The other side was seized. I got it off though, no problem, with a 3.5 foot breaker bar and my heavy self on it. Let's look at the other side. Okay, here's the other side, same thing. You can see the bushing is cracked all the way around. Right here, it's starting to crack and come apart. It's in rough shape when you compare it to the new one. Okay. Now, I was noticing movement on this side, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but with you know, 50 pounds of pressure, which is nothing, think what this truck weighs. Look, I can move this whole thing back and forth, okay? In fact, I can gap the bushing in here. Look at that. Okay? Where if you compare it to the new one, see if I can do this. Compared to the new one's tight. It barely moves at all, okay? And again, look, I can move that about 1/16 of an inch. That likely, sorry friends, I hope you can hear this. If not, I'll voice over it. This movement here, likely, you guys see that? That's probably my issue. You got 8,000 pounds of truck pushing, you know, sideways on this. That little bit of movement, think about it. Your front end moves a 1/16 of an inch here is likely a 1/4 inch on the other side, and as it moves, of course the wind picked up, as it moves, that front end's going like this and the truck is doing this, okay? And your steering shaft, your pitman arm is like this. Your pitman arm's gonna move back and forth as the truck goes side to side. So I think likely we found the issue. This bolt was seized in there. I'm gonna clean it up and put some anti-seize, and let's throw it back in the truck, and then we'll take it for a test drive. Again, while you're under here, we'll zoom you in. Bolts like this, check to make sure the holes aren't oblong. Here's the other side. Okay, right there. Check to make sure there's no play in there, because if there is, that's not going to help your situation. And again, I took the, let's see, zoom you guys back here. I took the steering shaft off right here. Again, just give her a little whack with a hammer. It'll come off. Again, this stuff is all tight, okay? This thing's like brand new. The boot does have a rip, so I will have to change this, but that's going to be, that'll be a next year problem. These are not replaceable. So everything's tight on this truck. I may start chasing ball joints next year, but winter's setting in. This truck does not fit in my current shop, so doing ball joints on this, I mean, I think I could lower the tires to 510 psi and drive this thing in, but we won't cross that bridge unless we absolutely have to. Okay, now I'm going to put the track bar back in, just slide it in, 2 bolts, torque them down to 1,000,000 foot-pounds. That's how tight they were, and call it a day. Show you guys death wobble right here. Okay, picture that is loose. Look at the whole truck. You see that? And look, your steering, your pitman arm would go back and forth. Look how much the truck swings. You see the shock moving, the front springs. Okay, now picture you're doing that at 60 mile an hour. I hope you guys can see that. The whole truck is literally going back and forth. Okay? And once I get it moving, friends, it doesn't take much power to keep it moving. Okay? Does that make sense? So now think about it. Everything is loose. If you got a little play here, a little play there, a little play there, everything starts moving and you end up with a death wobble. Okay? So any movement in this track bar, friends, I'm moving this track bar about 1/16 of an inch, maybe 1/8. And this truck is swinging back and forth about 1/2 inch at the top. Okay? Doesn't take much. And there's the new track bar installed. I torqued it to OMG. If I pull any harder, I'm going to pop a rib head. So that's the torque spec I used. Next week, we'll be replacing this damper. Funny story, this damper's tight, but you know what? It'll move. I just pulled it off. It'll move this far before it gets tight again. It's weird. It's got some play in the middle of it. And I just noticed, friends, this is actually a double damper bracket, so maybe I should order a second damper and fab up my own mount, and I could make this a double. Well, we'll talk about that later. Okay, I'm going to clean up. We'll fire this thing up. Let's take it for a ride. The truck feels tighter. Now, I still think I need sway bar links and that steering damper, but I notice already the truck feels like the steering's tighter. It's hard to explain. You can feel it. It feels better, if that makes any sense. And likely, if I replace all these little things that are loose, it'll go away. If not, I'm gonna have to look at steering alignment. Here's a spot that gave me my horrible death wobble. Oh, and it still did it a little bit, but it corrected itself. So I hit the potholes on purpose. Normally I don't do that, but the nice thing is it did get out of shape a little bit, but I didn't feel it in the steering wheel, and it also corrected itself right away. So that's a particularly bad spot. And I also notice my tires feel smoother. I've had a little bit of a balance issue when I'm driving this truck down the highway, and again, I'm probably going to take those balance beads out and just get them balanced. But right now the truck's smooth. You could feel a little something, friends, but I don't feel it right now. It feels smooth as glass. So again, I know some of you would, it's all in what you want to do. Pick your pain, friends. You either go to the dealership, you know, yeah, it would be nice to have a newer one of these, 2016, the newer body style with a 6.7. The newer ASIN transmission would be really nice. That's a commercial transmission. That's what they put in these, in the newer trucks. But again, friends, my buy-in would be $30,000 to $40,000. I could have 3 of these in the driveway for that kind of money. So I'm just gonna keep plugging away at this truck and make it right. Little part here, little part there. And before I'm done, anything that's worn on this truck will be fixed. It'll be stone dead reliable. I won't have to worry about anything. Because that's always the worry, friends. An old truck like this, you're going on a 1,000-mile trip, and is that U-joint gonna go bad? How old is it? Stuff like that. My wheel bearings, all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I think about when I'm going on a long trip. This thing right now is smooth as glass. I feel like maybe I won't take those beads out, friends. It's funny. I could feel a little something every once in a while before, and that's the main thing I'm noticing right now with the new track bar is this truck feels smoother going down the highway. It's still a 1-ton, and it's not. You can still feel the road, but it's not out of hand, if that makes any sense. Anyhow, I think we'll stop this video here, and I don't know, buy an old truck and work on it, or buy a newer one. Either way, I mean, a new truck, you're probably not going to have to work on it, hopefully. But let's be honest, friends, newer vehicles, as they get newer, I notice they have catastrophic failures. This truck here, starting in 2019, I believe, they went to hydraulic lifters. This truck has solid lifters, and hydraulic lifters are failing a lot in these trucks. They're having camshaft issues. It's the same motor, but they cheaped out on the valve train, and now they're having issues. So to me, I don't know, I'd be really upset if I was making $1,500 a month payments on a truck like this and it was in the shop even once or twice in its first couple years of life. I'd be pretty upset. Yeah, this thing's way smoother, friends. I'm just driving around down bouncy highways. Yeah, this thing's minty now. So still a little death wobble, but not like the one I experienced the other day. That one was like, wow. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Take her easy. And yeah, this truck's awesome. Later.